So we're talking with Liz Keener with Softwave on all the different aspects of the technology and using it and cost and how to get set up and stuff like that. Liz, what is it exactly you do over there? What's your role over there?
Um, I do a number of different things at Softwave. I've been with Softwave for 4.5 years, but mainly I am in sales. So I'm a product specialist. For years, I was the training director. So I've had the honor and privilege of traveling all over the country and training doctors just like you. So got to where I was building a network and so went into sales.
So you actually were in the offices teaching doctors how to use it in the protocols and doing those training days.
Yes,
I didn't
yes.
know that. That's awesome.
Yes, I cried at every single one. I cried at every single one because you see people, you see it all over their face. You're giving them hope. They
Yeah.
don't realize that this technology is even available to them. And they've been told that they either have to be on medication for the rest of their life, they're going to have injections, surgery, whatever it is. So, traveling all around the country and getting to introduce this technology to people is yeah, that's probably the best job I will ever have or have ever had.
That's yeah, it's been incredible. So speaking of the technology, without I know John's more of the one to answer questions about electricity and really deep stuff, but on a general just overview, what is Softwave and how does it work?
So Softwave is a shockwave device. And it's basically the Mac Daddy of the shockwave devices. So you get it's electrohydraulic, so it's produced in water. We know that sound travels faster in water than it does through air, so you've got that factor working for you. And it basically looks like an ultrasound device. You run it over normal healthy tissue, it just feels like a pulsing sensation. When you find those areas of inflammation and damaged tissue, there's a biofeedback that the patient experiences and they let you know and they'll say, oh, that's the spot right there. So you kind of find those hot spots. You're able to treat those hot spots and get that inflammation to go down as you're on the hot spots. So with most patients, you're going to see improved range of motion and a decrease in inflammation pretty much instantly. You see it during the treatment and you see it immediately after. But the main mechanisms of action for shock waves and for soft waves specifically, you get that improved blood supply, you get the decrease in inflammation, and then you get that tissue regeneration. So you're getting that healing stem cell
Right.
response.
Right. True actual healing and the body's biological response of the biggest thing for me in explaining and explaining to patients what it does is we actually get your body's own true stem cells to come to the area to actually not just repair, but to regenerate tissue. And it has patents, FDA cleared. I believe it has a patent for peripheral nerve, either elongation or regeneration, which is huge for like diabetic neuropathy. It is indicated for bone from fracture and wound healing. I've seen it work really well on diabetic foot ulcers where there's open wounds to heal faster. But I mean, I just tell patients, I get people all the time, like, does it help with this? Does it help with this? And I'm like, if it hurts, yes, it's gonna work. It has literally everything. Is there anything else maybe I didn't mention that you noticed that it gets
Ooh,
results with or it's indicated for?
I've been with this company, like I said, 4.5 years now. I feel like I'm still learning new indications that they're
Yeah.
either, studying over in Europe and we aren't even close to doing those treatments here yet. But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We have, I think, over 40 patents for different indications and shockwaves for different indications. Anything that hurts, any kind of pain, because you get that improved blood supply as well. It's actually used by urologists for erectile dysfunction. They use it for any kind of pelvic floor pain. I mean, it's safe to put pretty much anywhere on the body. So it's used for if it needs improved blood supply, if it needs to downregulate that inflammation, why not?
Right. So here's a big confusion in the community. All the forums, even the Softwave University page, everywhere you look, the question that's most asked is, what is the difference between Softwave and Shockwave? And what is Softwave? We already talked about the technology in Softwave. And why is this machine so much more superior to the other ones?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Very loaded question. So shockwave is the technology, and there are multiple devices out there that are shockwave devices. Then, of course, you have the devices that are radial, which is not a true shockwave. That's more so it's a different form of wave. It's a different form of energy that you're using to put in the body. Radial is good for more superficial. So those waves go across the surface of the body. With shockwave, you get these are sound waves that you're putting into the body, and they go deep into the body. Now, the biggest difference between Softwave and any other focused shockwave device, so they're all focused, but ours at Softwave, it's a broad focus. So you get 7 centimeters wide and 12 centimeters deep of that therapeutic zone. That means a number of different things for you as a practitioner. That means if you, as the doctor, are not doing the treatment, this is not technician dependent. So it doesn't depend on that technician to really understand anatomy and really understand what they're treating, because it's like broad strokes that you're painting over because you've got that wide and deep therapeutic zone. It also means less pulses for the treatment. It means a quicker treatment time. And the way that the waves are dispersed, it's going to be more comfortable for the patient as well. So have you had a focused device treatment before? Have you felt one before?
No, I haven't. But here's what I tell everybody. When they're thinking about buying one, I say, but just give it a week. Go to somebody that's got Softwave and go to somebody that has a RPW or a focused one or, a different type of shockwave and then just decide. And 100% of the time, they're like, the Softwave feels totally different.
Totally different. Totally different. You can feel it deep, but you can feel it wide, and it's just more comfortable. I mean, I've personally had one of the focus devices treated my wrist. I didn't even have an injury, not and
Right.
not a tattoo either. Just no injury, nothing wrong with my wrist. They treated over my wrist. I was in so much pain. I had to ask them to stop the treatment. I couldn't even handle it, and I'm not a baby. I treat myself with Softwave all the
Right.
time. So
Right.
yeah, huge difference in the way it feels, which matters to the patients, especially the ones that have a low pain threshold.
Right. And so, um, it being a more superior, well, let me talk about just the results in my office because I want to talk about how much more superior of a machine that it is. Obviously, I haven't used the other ones, but I can speak from results in my clinic. I've now put it in 2 clinics and capped the appointments that are on it. One of the reasons why I like it is because you don't have to use it that long. I also tell patients we're going to know after one session if it's going to work. And that's why I like it because we can do one initial session and determine if it's going to work for you. And I tell them we just look for a response. If it flares up a little bit, good, we got a response. If you have incredible pain relief after one session, it's going to work. So as long as we see a response, it's usually going to work. And the majority of people have instant pain relief, like get off the table, instant pain relief. It's the thing that a lot of times we can't do in our office, but we've always wanted to do because that's how the population is now, which is instant gratification and results.
Yeah. Yeah.
Softwave provides, it's the only thing that provides that. Decompression can't do it. A lot of times the adjustment can't do it. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I think Softwave is. Sue me, whatever. But it
I'm
gives
partial.
it gives that thing that patients are looking for. So you don't even have to sell it. It sells itself. You just have to tell patients how many sessions they need after they do that first one. So I've seen incredible results. My favorite things personally to use it on are lumbar disc issues. I have no idea what my screen's doing that.
I'm glad you said.
I have no idea. I'm not
I thought, are we celebrating lumbar disc
Yeah, I don't
issues?
know. Is it because I did my hands like this or something?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyways,
I
um,
kept getting the thumbs up too.
yeah, me too. Maybe it's because I was putting my hands up or something. Anyways, lumbar disc herniations, combining that with decompression, it's not necessary to. I just like to. Shoulder issues and knee issues. Those are like my top 3 favorite things to use on. Of course, it works on everything, but those ones I look at patients. That's another reason why I like the device because I can look at patients and tell them exactly what's going to happen. They're like, well, I mean, is it going to get better? I'm like, hey, if you follow this and you make the appointments, of course, yeah, it's gonna get better if not go away for sure. So it gives me the ability to have this confidence to look in a patient's eyes and just tell them, yeah, it's gonna be better. instead
Yeah.
of, oh, we'll adjust it a few times and see, or, doing all this like, oh, my knee hurts. Okay, I'll just yank on it when it's the ligaments anyways. And you probably shouldn't be doing that. So it also gives you an extra tool in your arsenal to be able to use. I was like, I tell, my clients is, obviously you're a chiropractor, so you should be adjusting people. You work with the spine and it has discs, so you should have a decompression machine. But then also people are going to be coming in with other orthopedic issues that aren't right for the decompression machine or your adjustment. And that's where you need another device. And I just don't think that there's a better device than Softwave to do that. So we can help more things. We can also monetize it, which brings me to my last point. Most chiropractors, what they do is they won't admit this, but being a consultant, that's what I see all the time. What they do is patient says, oh, it hurts here. Oh, okay, let me pop it. Instead of doing a proper exam, finding out exactly what's wrong, and then making a recommendation. And it's the reason they have to do that is because they don't really have an answer to treat that area. And
Right.
so that's what's cool. Softwave is like, okay, test, 9 times out of 10, it's a rotator cuff issue. Well, cool. That's a soft tissue injury. Probably don't need to adjust it. We probably need to heal it and strengthen it. And now we have a piece of equipment to be able to do so. Whereas before we didn't. So you'll see a huge increase in collections, whether you're a seasoned doc that knows how to talk to people or you're fresh out of school, because the device is so incredible and the results. I know for us monetarily, of course, that's what everybody wants to know, which brings me to my last point is, what about the money? Money, 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 right? I think the patient's results the most important thing, and then the money will take care of itself. But sharing some of my experiences in my last clinic, our first day, the launch day. Now, I market very, very hard. So we had a busy day the first day, but we did $20,000 with it our first day, signed in care. I think I did like a 3-hour thing after work on a Friday where I had patients come and they could try it out. And then we had a discount initial package for people to start. And then,
So 3 hours and you made $20,000. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could have been better. I think we set it up for like 30 people or something to be able to come, or, it takes about 15 minutes. So whatever, how many ever appointments that would be in 3 or 4, maybe 5 hours. So
So,
we just filled it
so
up. And then what we did is they did it. And then we just let them know. I let them know what I recommended based on that first treatment. And then we had an initial special for them if they wanted to start that day at a discounted rate.
Gotcha. Can you tell me, because I heard this from another doctor, and I had never thought about this when I was the director of training and I was going across the country. Um, he didn't sleep for 2 nights before his training day, not because he was excited, but because he was so nervous that this technology wasn't going to live up to what he had,
Uh,
preached and promised to his patients. Did you have anything like that, or had you experienced it before? What's your story about? So you weren't even stressed. You're
I
like,
no,
yep,
I knew I was
it's
going
gonna.
to get it in and it was just going to explode. Like it was a cup within 4 weeks, it was capped. So if each treatment takes, about, 5 to 7 to maybe up to 15 minutes, if you're doing a couple areas, you can only get a certain number of people per day. And so
Right.
here we have a room that they go in, we have gowns if it's a intimate part of the body. And so it can take up to 15 minutes. So you can cap around 30 visits a day on it. And we were at that point in 4 weeks, but no, I slept like a baby the night before we had our thing. I'm not worried about it at all because I knew how well it was going to work. And I did my homework. I
Yeah.
called doc after doc after doc, and I said, I'm about to spend the money to do it. Give me the rundown. 100% of people across the board all said the same thing. And so I said, okay, if 100% of people tell me you need to do it, you probably need to do it. And I called all people who were above me. I didn't call anybody below my level or at my level. I called everybody who was at a level that I wanted to be at. And I got all their opinions. Then I took it one step further. I had a little tear in my rotator cuff, nothing crazy, from jujitsu and getting armbarred. And it bugged me a little bit when I was adjusting. Not enough to ever do anything about it, but enough to where it was like it was there right in the initial
Yeah.
ABW.
Some type of pull.
Yeah. And so I called a good friend of mine who is just an incredible doctor and man, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was an associate at Chris Barnes' office, Dr. Barnes's office,
We
Tensec.
love Dr. Barnes.
Yeah, he's such a cool dude. And
Yeah.
Dwayne Goldbeck, his associate, Dr. Goldbeck. I went to school with him and I saw that they had one at their office when I looked on the site. And so I noticed that they had one and I'm like, Dr. Dwayne works there, my buddy, Dr. Goldbeck. So I texted him and said, hey man, give me the rundown on Softwave. What do you think? And I'll never forget the text. He goes, dude, I've never seen anything work like this before. He goes, get up here and try it. And I was like, can I come up there and try it? I was like, I'll pay for it. He goes, no, you don't even need to pay for it. Like, just come up here. So I go up
Because
there.
it's already paid for itself multiple
Yeah,
times
oh
for
yeah,
them. They're
oh
not
yeah.
worried
And
about it.
so I go up there. Um, he takes me in the room. He actually does it. They usually have a girl do it, but he actually did it. And I remember it going on my arm, and I went, I don't feel anything. And right as he got up here, I went, that's it. And that's what patients always say. They go, that's it right there. And so
Yeah, you
he
can't
did
miss
it,
it.
and the pain started dissipating as he was doing it. And then we got done, and I couldn't stop doing this because I'm like, surely it's going to come back in a second. And so I'm driving back home to catch the second shift of practice because he's only an hour and a half away. And the whole way home, I'm just doing this. And I'm like, holy crap, this thing is the real deal. And so I bought one right then. That's when I made the call. I was like, send it, because I was like, this thing is the real deal. And so incredible first day with it. The way I paid for it is I drew on my line of credit from the bank. And then what I did is I had that big first day, and then by week 4, my line of credit was back down to 0 drawn. So 4 weeks, it paid for itself. And that sounds like a little bit like too ambitious or not possible, because I tell my clients that all the time, like, you can pay for it in 4 weeks. And so I have it broken down in a number, and we'll talk numbers here in just a second. I have it broke down, and with like the system that I recommend for like costing and stuff like that I'll share with you. It only takes 13 people starting a week at an average of 10 sessions over 4 weeks to pay for the device. And so
Wow.
if you market about a month before the device arrives and you're getting it, I mean, you should have up to 100 people ready to go, so having 13 people a week started for 4 weeks is actually a cakewalk. And so it just has to
Yeah.
get set up correctly. But we won't dive too much into that. I just want to share my success with it. And so what happened was, so I retired from practice. I sold that office and went coaching and consulting full time, but then bought one for my house. Right. So I was like, I got to have it because I was going up there. I felt so bad because I was going up there all the time. The guy that bought my office, Dr. Elder, I was like, Dr. Elder, can I come get Softwave? Can I come get Softwave? Can I come get Softwave? And I went, all right, I'm just going to buy one. And then I'll probably just stick it in a clinic and just do Softwave because that's how incredible it is. I was just going to stick it in a clinic and just do
Yeah.
just. And so then I started
And
this.
you don't even have to be there, right?
Well,
Like
it
you,
depends on your state and your state board. So you
okay.
make sure if therapy is supposed to be a supervised versus unsupervised, or what your board regs and regulations say. I'm allowed to have somebody here do it. And so I put it in the second office. And today, like, we just started with it in the second office, and we're already over 20 visits a day on it. I
Fantastic.
started 2 months ago. So, and we haven't even marketed that heavy. We just turned Facebook ads on it 4 weeks ago. So what I'm getting at is the results. The results are what sell it.
Sells it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, getting into that, I'll shut up now because you got to stop me because I'll just keep going.
No, I love it. I do want to say two things.
Go
We
for it.
hear stories like that every single day. I mean, like your starting story. We hear stories. I say it's nothing short of miracles that we hear about every single day. And if you want to be hearing that from your patients and you want to be providing that for your patients, there's just nothing better that you'll find.
I
It really
completely
is
agree.
miracles that we see
Completely
every single
agree.
day. And second note is take advantage of that launch day. Really, like you said, I mean, spend the time marketing that launch day and that training day. My record as a trainer was collecting $24,000 in one day. Yeah, but it's not even the record. It's not even the record. I have been beat. I think the record is somewhere like $30,000
The first day,
in one day. In one day,
buy
yes.
another one and do it again.
Yeah, yeah. That's your challenge. That's what you have to do.
It
So,
can be
and
done.
we have doctors. I think I've heard of one doctor paying it off within, or being able to pay it off within 5 days. Most of them are able to pay it off within the first 90 days.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
the goal.
you guys really hadn't had a question one of my clients wanted to ask, and I told him you probably wouldn't have this percentage, but you may be able to expand on it. because I always say 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, because I push, push, push. But even I think even an average doctor that doesn't have coaching and is real polished can even pay it off in 90 days. He wanted to know what percentage of docs paid it off in 4 weeks. I'm like, that's probably not known, but can you talk about the 90-day thing?
I don't know the percentage. I don't, and that's a
I knew
great
you wouldn't.
question.
I know. That's a Warren percentage thing, because I'm always, when I'm recommending it, I'm like, you can pay it off in 4 weeks. You can pay it off 4 weeks, and so they're like, okay, let's see some data on that. And I'm like, well, they're not going to have that, but
We need to pull data on that.
yeah.
That's
But you
that's what
guys,
we need to do.
I know you guys talk a lot about that. It's not uncommon to pay it off in 90 days. Can you talk about that?
It's it's not uncommon to pay it off in 90 days. And I want to show you. So we developed an ROI calculator, which you guys can use. We'll give you access to it. You get access to it whenever you join and you're on the provider portal. You can set your treatment cost, or you can set what you're charging for treatments, and then see how many weeks it's going to take you to pay off this device.
Yes.
It's also going to show you how much you make off of each applicator. So I think one thing to note, there is a consumable on this device. You purchase the device. It comes with two of these physical applicators. Those applicators do have a lifetime on them, and they have to be refurbished. The OrthoGold 350, it's 350,000 pulses or up to 700 treatments on those applicators. So it's just important to know that you've got that consumable. It comes with two of the applicators. We do refurbish the first one for free for you with purchase of the device. So you get, what's that? It's 2,100 treatments before you have to pay to refurbish. And it's really simple. If you're charging on the lower end of the spectrum, you're doing $150 per treatment and 2,100 treatments, it's $315,000. So before you even have to pay to refurbish one of those applicators, before you even use up all of your treatments that come with the purchase of the device, you've paid it off times
Right.
3 times
So,
4.
so since we're going down that road, that's the next thing I wanted to say, which will be a good transition to the ROI thing. Because a lot of doctors, the first question they ask me when Softwave comes out of my mouth, how much is it? How much is it? And I tell them, it doesn't matter what it costs because of what it does. But if you want to know how much it costs, this is the cost. How much does it cost should not be the first question. It should be,
Right.
what does it do? Results. Okay, now what's the cost? But they always want to know
Yes.
that first. So what is the cost of the 100 and what is the current cost of the 350?
So the current cost, great question for both of them. And let me clarify, the OrthoGold 100 comes with 100,000 pulses
Right.
on the applicator. So you're getting about 200 treatments. And that does come with two applicators as well. For the OrthoGold 100, that one is 69,500. We are doing a special for 59,500, so it's $10,000 off. And then for the OrthoGold 350, that MSRP is 89,500, and we'll do that for 79,500.
That is a great price for what you get off of it. So for anybody watching this, I paid 75 for my 100. So, um, but it's so incredible. I paid cash just to have one personally, and I bought the 350. And the ROI, I believe, if we do the calculation, is going to be even better because you don't have to send in the heads as often to get refurbished. One thing that I did want to note is that the machine is not down when you have to refurbish the heads. I had a question about that the other day from somebody. The machine's not down. You have extra. So what happens is you plug in a new head, new water cartridge, you package up the other one. You guys have a very seamless way to do that, which I appreciate. It goes off, you're using the next one, that one gets repaired, and it's back before this one's out.
Yeah.
And so another
Oh, sorry,
question
I have a
I
cough.
have is, you're good, is, well, how often is that going to happen? Well, that's going to depend on which unit you have. So what I noticed, and this is speaking from my elevated level that not everybody's going to be at, but the 100 we had to refurbish at least once a month, or then getting to the point where it's maybe even twice a month. And I believe the 350 right now is lasting us over a month. And I may be exaggerating a little higher, a little low on both of those, but it seems to be over double the amount of time on the 350 doing the same volume of care.
Yeah, as it should, and it really just comes down to volume. I also think it's important to keep in mind the distance, like, if you're out in Hawaii or you're out in California
Oh, yeah.
and you're having to ship that applicator back to us in Georgia, here in Georgia,
Right.
you wanna allow for more time. So I think even if you're not a higher volume clinic, it's best to go with the 350, especially if you're out in the West Coast, just to give yourself more time
Good.
to ship those applicators back. So you've got, like Dr. Warren said, you've got that applicator that you run it out, and then you've got that backup applicator that you can plug in. So it's a plug and play. You keep going. You don't have to worry about it. There's no downtime. And then we get that applicator back to you as quickly as possible. It's typically about 3 to 5 business days that it's in our warehouse getting refurbished, and then we send it back to you.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky because I'm in Arkansas. I'm not too far from you guys. So I get it. I get it pretty quick, but, the system seems pretty seamless to do so. And lastly, I did want to touch on before we jump in the ROI calculator is the only difference in the machine is how many shocks you get out of the head. One's not more powerful than the other, correct?
Right, right.
It's not
Same
different
physics, same
technology,
technology,
same
same
everything,
exact technology.
except the
Yep,
head on the
exactly.
350 lasts longer.
Exactly, exactly. It's just a matter of volume.
Yeah. So let's talk about the ROI. You have the ability to share your screen.
I do. Yes, let's see.
I think that's going to blow people's minds. I don't think enough people check that out because when
I
you,
think this is such a fun tool to use too. I mean, more people should definitely use it. And if you guys need access to it, just ask Dr. Warren. I'll make sure that he's got a way to share this. All right, share screen. Let's see. Okay, are you able to see?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so actually, I'm going to let me try this again.
Okay.
Okay, be able to see this one?
Yes.
The private browsing, and it's not. So you are going to come on to the calculator and I'll share the password with you guys. Okay, so we're going to get started. It's going to ask you a few general questions.
Mhm.
Let's run through a scenario. So I'm going to ask you as if you've never had a Softwave before.
Okay.
Um, what average charge per treatment? So what um,
So,
typically we see on average anywhere across the country, and we do not set prices by any means, but I can tell you what we see on average. Low end of the spectrum, 150 per treatment. Higher end of the spectrum, 300, 350 per treatment.
yeah, so I'm on the low end of the spectrum because where I am in Arkansas and what I can get. Um, but I'm at 135 a session.
Okay. All right. So
So we're going way
135.
on the low end. So
Yeah.
when we do
Yeah.
this
So we're
example,
being very
this is like
conservative.
this is yeah, too conservative.
Average treatments per treatment package. So you said 10, right? That's
10
what
is yeah,
you're
the average because we do a lot of 12s, a lot of 8s, so we average that out. Yeah, close to 10.
okay. Will you offer a discounted rate for your initial treatment? Do you offer a discounted rate
Yeah,
for
so
your initial treatment?
the first one we go with is 49.
Okay.
But
And
they
then total.
also, let me make sure we calculate it correctly because the first one doesn't count as part of the 10.
Oh,
So yeah, I'd probably change that to 11 up there or 3, or excuse me. Yeah, 11 there and then 49. That way it doesn't take it away. Does that make
right.
sense?
Yep. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 350. So we're going to go with the 79.5. Average number of shockwaves per treatment. You are
Uh,
probably doing the 500.
yep, 500. Yep.
Average minutes spent per patient.
Say we really do a good like job of making them comfortable and exposing the area and having gowns and shorts for people to change it to. So my average treatment time may be a little bit more than somebody that's really cranking. So I would say 8 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes.
Really? Okay, let's talk about how many minutes do you think that patient's in the room for?
They're in the room for probably 5, and you figure a minute putting the shorts on, a minute taking them off. Could be a little bit longer. But you got to remember, systems is what I do. And I have a person on my team that all they do is Softwave. They don't do
Yeah,
anything.
that's tight.
They have no other responsibilities. What happens is somebody comes in, they check in, they go right to the Softwave room. By the time they're done, that door opens, they come out, the next one's ready to go and goes in.
That's
So he
awesome.
literally just
I love
opens
it.
the door and grabs the next one. So I know that may sound really quick, but
No,
it's
that's music to my ears. That's the way my brain works. Efficiency, that's what you want. Um, number of applicators and refurbishment. So that's going to be 3, like we said. You get 2 physical applicators, 1 for your refurbishment, and then we're going with the Ortho Gold 350. Now, if you wanted to, you could factor in your overhead costs. That's, you know, electricity, how much you're paying in rent for that room, or how much you would be paying in rent for that room.
it's not necessary for this example.
Yeah, exactly. So then we're going to go to the next one. So this is, how many patients do you anticipate that first week? And I think we should go with your example of 13 new patients that first week, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is how many new patients, because this is accounting for those subsequent visits afterwards. So how many new patients would you say
I
week
would
2, week 3, week 4?
we could increase it by you know, to be conservative, you could increase it by two new patients per week. And I think even that's
Perfect.
conservative because people refer do you not have to go 15, 17, 19, or you can just put the 2 in there?
Nope. So it's accounting for the
Oh, okay,
so
got it. I
yeah,
got it.
just new patients per week.
So yeah, because the referrals are so high with this device. The guy that bought my clinic, he shut the ads off because he's all referral based now on it. So
Because he doesn't have the time to keep up with
yeah,
it.
you
I
can,
love
yeah,
that.
exactly. Or buy a second machine.
Yeah.
You referrals happen really quickly, so it's not uncommon for it to grow by that amount. I think that's conservative itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think word of mouth is huge. And especially when people experience this technology for the first time, they can't help but go tell other people
Right.
about how much it helped them. Okay. So it's going to show us, let's see. So we come down here to the gross margins. Most of this is going to be self-explanatory. It's patient charge 135. The cost to you, and that's including the device cost. That's not broken down by cost per applicator. So the cost for you for those first 2,100 treatments is going to be $24. So your net profit per treatment is 111. Your treatment plan charge that accounts for that $49 special, so it's going to be $13.99. Here is your profit per treatment plan. Your total revenue per applicator, and remember you get 3 of those applicators with the purchase of the device, is $89,000. So your total for all applicators is $267. This is just those operational expenses that we just went with the automatic answers. So your net income, and this is the revenue that you've generated off of those 3 applicators minus the device cost. So once you've used up those 3 applicators, you have netted $187,581.82, and it takes you 42 weeks to pay it off. Now that's being conservative.
That's crazy conservative. You could
Very
put up,
conservative.
yeah, you could blow it way up, way faster. But still, when somebody goes, but Liz, the applicators are X amount to refurbish it. Yes, but you can't think of it like that. You have to think of it as an investment, right? And so when you invest something, you don't go, well, I have to put this much money in. You think about what you're getting out of it,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely. And you're spending pennies on the dollar
if you
compared to what
told
you're
me,
getting
if this
out of
wasn't a
it.
device, and you told me, Warren, give me $79,000 or whatever, 69 actually now, and I'm going to give you 200,000, you would be stupid to not do it.
Right.
Right. So it's like, this is the same thing. Like you're going to give Softwave X amount and you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of back. Like, can you imagine if an investment like that, like was out there in the market, you'd be like not very intelligent to
Right.
to not do it.
I
So
know, I know.
this
Trust
is
me,
the
every
best.
time I do these, I'm like, man, the money is in treating people. That's where I need to be.
Yes, so the ROIs, I mean, it's more than adjustments. It's a higher in the payoff than decompression. It's just so the ROI is incredibly massive on something like this.
It's quick. It's quick, but I think even more importantly, yes, you get that ROI. What's the ROI? What's the return on investment for what you're doing for your community and what you're doing for all of these patients? I mean, that is it establishes your practice as the go-to for anybody in pain, which I think, you know, who wouldn't be honored to get to treat people with this?
Agreed. And I don't think we need to do another example because that example was so incredible and it was stupid.
Very conservative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't
very
think it's
conservative.
necessary. So if you went up to 150, 165, 175 a visit, and you really blew it out of the water with 4 weeks of marketing before you got it, a launch day, and primed Facebook ads at the correct time, you could essentially almost double that number,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so that's just where it's for me, my community. I track that with specific metrics on the percentage of people that do it. And so I used to be up here, I've done it down here, and I found where 80% of people start care is at that number. So that's just what my market allows. You know, if you go further west or further east, you're going to be able to get a lot more. It just depends on where you are, how good of a doctor you are, and how well you explain it to patients. That's what it boils down to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do help with we do help with marketing. We have videos,
Yep.
testimonials, all types of stuff that are available on our provider portal for you. We even have a video, how does it work? You can have that playing in your waiting room so that you're not having to answer too many questions or spend too much time answering questions. I think it's really good to kind of prime them before they go in for their first initial visit. You can share that video with all the patients that are coming in for your launch day. But really, I think, and I didn't touch on this before, and I'm embarrassed by this. I think one of the biggest differentiators with Softwave is that we are your success is our success. We are going to hold your hand. We're going to make sure that this works for you. It's I can't even count on one hand how many devices have not worked, and someone said, "Hey, come pick this up," or you know whatever it is, it's not working. People generally get it, and they don't want to give it back. They won't give it back.
Absolutely. That's a great point because I remember calling you. I was buying my personal one, and I said, "You guys have ever any refurbs?" And you're like, "Refurbs? No, we don't have any refurbs. We don't have any used ones." And that's the thing is like, if you go on any chiropractic garage sale place or anywhere, you're not going to find a used one for sale. So
Right.
that is, I think, a really good sign as well.
Oh, it speaks volumes that people are not getting rid of this. I think, you know, I've seen maybe two or three people sell their sell their device, and most of the time it's because they're wanting to upgrade to the 350.
Yeah.
But the
Yes.
minute they say that they've got that device for sale, we've got so many providers that are snatching
Oh
it up
yeah.
as
Oh,
their second device. So it's yeah, I mean it really it's just it's incredible. It's an honor to get to work with you. It's an honor to get to work with these providers that I think everybody's on the same mission.
right.
We want to heal the masses.
Yes, and get paid well for it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Listen,
bonus.
you're awesome. I appreciate everything you do, and you're who we recommend to talk to if people want to find out more. I'll attach your email in here for everybody. But thanks for taking a little bit of time to chat with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.